Hi and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Nita Strauss online guitar course. Now I did purchase the course recently. I've been through the entire thing and it is listed as a beginner, intermediate, and advanced course. So it's $100. It's a lifetime access. There's 35 lessons, I believe. You have access to everything that she adds in the future. So pretty good deal. During Black Friday it was 50% off. In fact, I think at the time of the video it's still on sale for 50% off. So $50, not a bad deal. So what do you actually get? And is it worth it? And who's it for? Okay, first of all, who's it for? It does list, like I said, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Now, for a beginner, this is a fabulous course, especially if you're having trouble finding some focus for your instruction. You may not know, you may be jumping from simple lessons to hard lessons. You may be working on chords and then on lead and then on technique. You may just be bouncing back and forth and really need some focus. And any instruction is going to help with that, any kind of course. So whether it's this course or another one, if you're having that trouble, I definitely recommend seeking out some sort of course or instructor. Now, for intermediate, this is still a really great course. Now, intermediate depends on who you talk to, but I think most of us kind of know intermediate is you can play guitar, you can play songs, but you may not have all the fancy techniques down. You may still be working on really good vibrato. You may still be working on your legato. You may still be working on two-hand tapping. There's all kinds of things you might still be working on or lacking in to become a more complete guitarist. I mean, we're always working on it. So for intermediate, this still really offers a lot. Now, for an advanced player, and what I mean by advanced is someone who you play on stage, you can tap, you can do legato, you're used to doing speed runs, you know your scales and modes. This is probably not for you. I did not learn anything new in the course. I was familiar with everything in there. Now, I am not great with modes, and I am not the speediest player around. However, short of the speed, and I didn't learn anything new with the modes, it's just the information I've heard that information before. I tend to use the Aeolian, the Ionian, and the Lydian scales along with pentatonics. So I was familiar with everything, but it was still very interesting and enjoyable and a good brush up. If you're an advanced player, like I said, I don't think I'd recommend purchasing the course unless you're just looking to do some brush up or you're interested in a little bit of how she teaches. I did like the teaching style. It's very easy, very low-key, very encouraging. I think some of the instructors might enjoy seeing how her approach is. But I don't think I don't think it's really worth it for an advanced player. But definitely for an intermediate. I think when it comes to being an advanced player, most of your instruction is kind of done as far as lessons. You're more working on the things you need to work on for your own playing, your own style of music. Like I said, you're always learning, but there is a point where actual basic instruction, one-on-one instruction, really isn't doing much for you anymore, unless there's a very particular area you need to work on. So I leave this with being great for beginners and still really pretty good for intermediate, but I'm not going to recommend it for advanced players. I'm really not. But I don't think I'd recommend any program for advanced players unless it was specifically designed to be really, really hard for advanced players. And I'm sure she could put out something like that, as well as a lot of others have stuff like that out there, more advanced challenges. But in this course, some of the exercises and stuff obviously are challenging. Getting up to the speed is definitely challenging. But for an advanced player, especially one who's a shred, you're not going to have a hard time with that. So that's who it's for. What's really in it? It contains a basic introduction to just about everything. I mean, you have open chords, you have bar chords, you have power chords, you have scales and modes, you have all kinds of techniques, sliding, vibrato, legato, whammy bar, bending. It doesn't get too deep into any of it. So if you're looking for like in-depth theory, this is not the course for you. If you are looking for a well-rounded instruction for rock and metal guitar, it's great. and it will teach you the basics regardless of what style you're looking for. She does also cover, she starts you from the beginning with covering the basics of the guitar, which I appreciate because there's a lot of players who first getting into the guitar and they're not familiar with the actual anatomy of the guitar. Also, she gets into all the basics, tuning and multiple ways to tune, how to hold your pick. I mean, it's a very basic to very advanced, but again, the challenges for the advanced are really only so much. So she does cover whammy tricks, like I said. She covers all kinds of practice runs, how to use scales in different ways. She does get a little into the theory of scales, but it's not mind-numbing in any way. So it is a course that covers a lot of good stuff. Now, is it worth the price? For a beginner and intermediate, absolutely. Absolutely. Guitar lessons are expensive, so if you're looking for a program that's going to guide you and that you can go step by step as much as you need to, take the time you need, I highly recommend it. I took guitar courses years and years ago. I didn't take many. I got a couple pages worth of information that I worked off of for years. But I can tell you from those courses, being able to sit down online, watch her, what she's doing, as well as have her explain it to you as much as you need, very helpful, especially for beginners. So I definitely think it's worth it. I knew going into this that I was probably not going to learn anything because I have been playing for a very long time. Should be better than I am, but taking years off doesn't help that. I was actually wanting to see where I was at nowadays because I was out of guitar for almost 10 years due to injuries. And as I've been coming back over the last 4 years, sometimes you just need to see where you're at. And I think all players go through that. And a course like this is a good way to do that. I have the same problems I've always had. My speed is not where I'd like it to be. And I never really got into all the modes. I have the couple, 3 that I like, and that's where I tend to stay. But I think most of us do that. Now, I do like to play with scales now and then outside of my comfort zone. But for the most part, I stick with the same 3. But I did enjoy the course. And I did watch start to finish. I watched her explaining how to hold a pick, how to tune your guitar, how to do open chords. I mean, I did watch the entire course, and I have to say I wasn't really, at any time, I wasn't really bored. You find yourself going, okay, I like how she's approaching this. You're watching, would you do it differently? Do you fret it differently? There's always something to go, okay, cool. Watching how she mutes when she explains muting with the palm and the pinky finger. There's always neat things in there. So it is a good course. I don't recommend it for advanced. It's definitely worth the money for intermediate and beginners. And that's about all I can say about it. I recommend anybody try a guitar course if you've never done it. Unless you're already an advanced player. I mean, if you're out there playing on stage, you probably don't need to worry about it unless you just want to for fun. If you're a blues player who's wanting to try out some metal, great. You might want to take a course on it. However, if you are learning guitar, if you are unfamiliar with chordings, if you're unfamiliar with playing over chords, what chords go where, how to use scales, if you're just not a high-level intermediate player, then I always recommend finding a guitar course, whether it's Nita Strauss, whether it's Music is Win. It doesn't matter whether you go down to Guitar Center. It doesn't matter. Some sort of focused instruction will help you. I'm not going to say you can't learn it without it. Obviously, you can. A lot of us have. It takes a lot longer. You make a lot more mistakes. You develop a lot more bad habits. And there's no reason for it nowadays. Okay, well, that's all I really have to say about the Nita Strauss online guitar course. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content, please click like and subscribe. Click the bell icon to stay notified. Leave me some comments and suggestions. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, keep playing.